Hello, students, and a very warm welcome to you. Today, we are going to explore one of the most interesting chapters in your Class 10 science syllabus, the human eye and the colorful world. We'll be taking a journey to understand the incredible science behind how we see, and we'll uncover the secrets of light that make our world so beautiful and colorful. Just think about it for a second. Our eyes, they are our windows to the world, aren't they? They are probably our most important sense organs, and the key to understanding how they work, and also how we see amazing things like rainbows, actually lies in the principles of physics.
So how does the eye really work? Well, a fantastic way to begin is to compare it to something we all know, a camera. Both are amazing optical instruments. You see, your eye has a natural lens that focuses an image onto a light-sensitive screen inside, called the retina. A camera, well, it does the exact same thing, but it focuses the image onto a sensor. This simple comparison is a great starting point for us.
So here's our game plan for today. We'll start by taking a tour inside the human eye, then we'll discuss some common vision problems and how we can correct them. After that, we are going to dive into the beautiful physics of light, looking at prisms, rainbows, and other wonders of our atmosphere. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a really useful revision guide to get you all set for your exams. Okay, let's begin our journey inside the human eye. What we're going to do is follow a single ray of light as it enters the eye and see exactly how it becomes an image that our brain can understand. To really understand how we see, we need to get familiar with the different parts of the human eye. As you can see in this diagram, each part has a very specific and very important job to do. So let's trace the path of light step by step. First, light enters through the cornea. This is a transparent outer layer, and this is where most of the bending or refraction of light happens. Next, we have the iris. That's the colored part of your eye. It controls the size of the pupil, that little black dot in the center. It works just like a camera shutter, controlling how much light gets in. The light then passes through our flexible, convex eye lens. Its job is to focus a real and inverted, that is upside down, image onto the retina. Now, the retina is like a movie screen at the back of our eye, and it's full of light-sensitive cells. These cells convert the light image into electrical signals. These signals then travel to the brain through the optic nerve. And here's the magic part. Our amazing brain processes these signals and flips the inverted image so we see the world the right way up. You know, what's truly incredible about our eye lens is its ability to change its focus. We call this the power of accommodation. Imagine you're reading a book. Your ciliary muscles are working hard, making the lens thicker to focus on the words right in front of you. Now look up from your book and focus on a tree far outside the window. Your ciliary muscles relax, the lens becomes thinner, and your focus shifts. This amazing adjustment of focal length allows us to see things that are near and things that are far away clearly. For a healthy eye, the closest you can see clearly is about 25 centimeters. This is called the near point. And the farthest you can see, well, that's infinity. But, sometimes the eye's power of accommodation can weaken over time. This leads to some common vision defects where the image doesn't focus perfectly on the retina. So let's take a look at these conditions and, more importantly, how we can correct them.
First up is myopia, which you probably know as nearsightedness. It's very, very common. A person with myopia can see nearby things, like a book, perfectly fine, but distant objects, like a sign across the street, look blurry. So why does this happen? It's because the light from distant objects is focusing in front of the retina, not on it. The image forms too early. This could be because the eyeball is a little too long or the eye lens is a bit too curved. The solution? We use a corrective concave lens. This lens spreads out or diverges the light rays just a little, pushing the focal point back onto the retina where it belongs. Here you can see it very clearly. In a first diagram, for a myopic eye, the image is forming too soon. But look at the second diagram. With a concave lens in front, the light rays are spread out just enough so that the eye's own lens can now focus them perfectly on the retina. Simple, isn't it? Next, we have hypermetropia, or farsightedness. This is basically the opposite of myopia. A person with this condition can see distant things clearly, but they struggle to focus on objects up close, like when reading. This time, the image is formed behind the retina. The focus point is too far away. This happens either because the eye lens has too long a focal length or the eyeball is a bit too short. To fix this, we need more focusing power, more converging power. And a convex lens does exactly that. And again, you can see it here. In the hypermetropic eye, the light rays from a nearby object are focusing behind the retina.
But a convex lens helps by converging these rays a little bit before they even enter the eye. This gives the eye's lens the help it needs to focus the image correctly onto the retina. And finally, there's a condition called presbyopia. This is an age-related issue. As people get older, the ciliary muscles can weaken and the eye lens itself becomes less flexible. This reduces the power of accommodation, making it difficult to see nearby objects clearly. It's often corrected using something called bifocal lenses. These are special glasses that have a concave part at the top for distance vision and a convex part at the bottom for reading. Now, let's talk about something that is very important for your exams, the numerical problems related to these vision defects. I know they can seem a little tricky at first, but if you follow a clear, logical method, you will find they are actually quite easy to solve. Here is a simple, step-by-step approach. First, read the question and identify the defect. The question will give you clues. For myopia, it will mention the person's far point. For hypermetropia, it will mention their near point. This given point is your image distance, v. So if a myopic person can see only up to 2 meters, your v is -2 m. The object distance, u, is usually infinity for myopia and -25 centimeters, the normal near point, for hypermetropia. Next, you just apply the lens formula to find the focal length, f. Finally, you calculate the power using the formula p equals 1 upon f. And here is a very, very important tip. Always convert the focal length to meters before you calculate the power. This is a very common mistake, so please be careful. All right, let's change gears now. We've talked a lot about the eye. Let's move from biology to the fascinating physics of light that creates the beautiful, colorful world around us. And our first stop is the glass prism. Look at this beautiful effect. This is called dispersion. When a beam of white light, like sunlight, passes through a glass prism, it splits into a beautiful band of 7 colors. This band is called the spectrum, and we remember the colors with the name Vibegyor: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. This happens because each color of light actually travels at a slightly different speed inside the glass, which causes it to bend by a different amount. As you can see, violet light bends the most, and red light bends the least. And where do we see this spectacular show in nature? In a rainbow, of course. A rainbow is nothing but a giant spectrum that is created when sunlight passes through millions of tiny water droplets hanging in the air after it rains. Each and every one of those little raindrops acts like a tiny prism. The formation of a rainbow involves 3 main steps. First, as a ray of sunlight enters a raindrop, it bends and splits into its 7 colors. That's refraction and dispersion. Second, these separated colors travel to the back of the raindrop and reflect off the inner surface. This is called total internal reflection. And third, as the light leaves the raindrop, it bends again, a final refraction. All these 3 things happening together create the beautiful arc of color we see in the sky. Our atmosphere also plays some fascinating tricks with light. This is called atmospheric refraction. For example, have you ever looked at the night sky and wondered why stars twinkle? It's because the starlight has to travel through many layers of our atmosphere, which have different temperatures and densities. This makes the light bend continuously and randomly, causing the star's apparent position to flicker. But planets don't twinkle, do they? That's because they are much closer to us and appear as larger sources of light. This same atmospheric refraction also makes the sun appear to rise about 2 minutes early and set about 2 minutes late. As you can see in this diagram, when starlight enters our atmosphere, it continuously bends towards us. Because of this, the apparent position of the star, where we think it is actually slightly higher in the sky than its true position. And this constant bending is what we see as twinkling. And finally, let's talk about the scattering of light, which answers some very famous questions. First, why is the sky blue? Well, it's because tiny particles in our atmosphere are much better at scattering shorter wavelengths of light, like blue and violet. This scattered blue light spreads all across the sky, making it appear blue to us. So then, why is the sun reddish during sunrise and sunset? At those times, the sunlight has to travel through a much thicker part of the atmosphere to reach us. Most of the blue light gets scattered away from our line of sight, leaving the longer wavelengths, like red and orange, to reach our eyes. This is also the exact same reason why danger signals are red. Red light is scattered the least, so it can travel the farthest through fog or smoke and be seen clearly from a distance. We've covered a lot of ground today, so let's just take a moment to wrap up with a quick revision guide. This will help you focus on the most important takeaways for your exams. For your revision, please focus on these key areas. First, master the definitions of all the important terms we discussed. Second, practice drawing and labeling the key diagrams, especially the human eye and the defect correction diagrams. Third, really focus on the reasoning-based questions, the why questions. And of course, practice those numericals on lens power until you feel confident. And don't forget the key value. 25 centimeters is the least distance of distinct vision. The ability to see this wonderful, colorful world is truly a gift, and I really hope this lesson has helped you appreciate the incredible science behind it. All the very best for your studies.